Hi, this is consumer protection attorney Bill Clanton. I've helped hundreds of consumers deal with inaccurate credit reporting, debt collection harassment, and other consumer related matters. I'm here with a credit reporting expert, Doug Hollon. Um, Doug has worked in the industry for a number of years and now is turning his expertise to helping out consumers. And he's here today to talk about mixed files. Doug, can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Hey, thanks, Bill. I appreciate you allowing me to be here today. You know, um, did you want me to share a little bit about myself, or what do you want to do?
Yeah. If you can tell the folks who are watching us a little bit about yourself, and then
Thank you.
we can talk about mixed files.
Okay, great. Just a little bit about myself. I've been working in the credit reporting industry for about 15 years. Okay, I did work for a national CRA, so I have that experience. But your question is about mixed files. Let's talk a little bit about mixed files today. What are mixed files? Why do they happen? Well, mixed files are those files where two or more people are merged into one file. So I've seen mixed files as many as four people. So we had four separate people merged onto one file. So that's what you'd call a mixed file.
So how could a file become mixed?
Well, the common scenario that I've seen is like it would be maybe siblings, or maybe a father and son, a mother and daughter. Typically, like if a person is a junior and a senior, that's one thing that happens, is that you've got a father and a son, they're junior and senior, same name, they share the similar address. Let's just say, for instance, the son may be older, and he hasn't lived with his father for, several years, but that address is still on the file as a previous address. So that could cause, the file to mix. Another example that I can give you is siblings, usually twins. Doesn't have to be twins, but siblings with similar names, again, similar addresses. I have seen it with twins where the social security number was only a few digits off, so that causes it. They have the same date of birth, so that causes it. So
Well, I mean, these credit bureaus are huge harvesters, holders, sorters of data. How could they get two people mixed up, or get a file mixed up?
well, it just, that's the way their database is set up. Something to keep in mind about mixed files, and this is something that I've learned, you know, one national CRA, stated that 3% of their database is mixed. Okay.
Wow.
Another national CRA said 1 to 2% of their database is mixed. So when you think about that, think about this for a minute. In the United States, of course, the population is like 330 million, roughly.
Mhm.
But I also know that, the CREs even state on their websites that they have data for over 200 consumers. I mean, excuse me, 200 million consumers.
Wow.
So they have data for over 200 million consumers. And when they start talking about, 1, 2, 3% of their database is mixed, and they know it's mixed. And that's the one thing that people should understand, is that a mixed file is not the consumer's fault. A mixed
Right.
file is the responsibility of the CRA.
So if you think about this for a minute, when you say they have files on 200 million Americans, and 3%, up to 3% could be mixed.
Yes, that's correct.
Like 6 million Americans.
That's right.
So 6 million Americans have information on their credit report that doesn't belong to them.
Yes, sir.
Wow. What can people do about a mixed file?
Well, when they have a mixed file, if I was in a situation where my file is mixed, okay, of course you want it fixed. I mean, ultimately you want it fixed, but you also need to have some help, because again, the CRAs, they're, it's their responsibility. From my experience, you need usually legal help. I would seek out legal help, because, you don't know what damage has been done. If you've been turned down for credit, okay, you've been damaged. Okay, you're trying to, get a loan for something, and you have to face the you went somewhere, they turned you down, you have to face the humiliation of walking away like, I don't understand what happened. And there's nothing that you did. So as a consumer, if I'm a consumer and my file is mixed, I would seek out, legal help and an attorney that is, that works in this area.
I think that's great advice, but I'm a little biased. So I guess I got ahead with that question. I guess, how can a consumer identify that they may have a mixed file?
Right. There's areas to look at when you're looking at your file. The first thing, okay, if you're a mixed file, if you're a person that has a mixed file, you're going to look at it and you're going to go like, wow, what's all this stuff coming from? Where on earth are these? Look at these accounts. Those aren't my accounts. Why are all these accounts on my file? So that's the first thing. Once you get over the kind of the initial shock of like, okay, what happened? Okay, this is what I would do. I would first go to the personal information section. Okay. I would identify the first thing I do when I look at a report is, are there any social security number variations? That would be the first thing. Look at the social security number. They're not going to give you the whole social security number. Typically, if they're going to give the last four. So you can kind of look at it and say, okay, is that my last four? Okay, that's the first thing. Now, the next thing you want to look at is the names. Go through your report, identify all the name variations that you don't believe are yours. Okay. The next thing you would do is go to the addresses. Once you look at the addresses, identify all the addresses that do not belong to you, that you've never lived at, you've never used for mail. And then the last thing I would look at is the date of birth. And the reason I say that is because if, let's say, like I gave you an example of the father, son, junior, senior. Well, if I'm the son and my dad's year of birth is on my credit file, then I can kind of guess, yeah, chances are this kind of confirms that my dad's information and I are mixed together.
Gotcha. I guess if you saw a twin's name, you can make the same.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I've seen cases where there's twins and they're, it just, they're, like I said, it's got a similar name, of course the address is the same, but the social security number was just maybe a digit or two off, and then the date of birth is the same. So now I will say for mixed files, not only I've given some of the scenarios, but I would say from ethnicity background, the most common mixed files I've seen are from Hispanic descent or Asian descent.
Interesting. Do you know why that is?
I suspect it's because of the names. So the way the Hispanics and the Asians, I mean, they're similar names. And, I know like you'll see like for Hispanics that I've seen they'll use their father and mother's name combination as their last name. So, but just it's primarily the names. So,
Okay. Um, and so the advice to somebody who identifies a possible mixed file is to dispute it.
Oh, definitely. They definitely need to dispute it. They need to get it fixed. They need to get it corrected. But in addition to that, I would seek out legal help also.
So we've gone over identifying it. Oh, and you talk about, you mentioned one of the effects of mixed files, and I just want to add to that. What I've seen also is, in addition to people losing out on credit opportunities, whether it's a car note or a mortgage, is they still qualify with bad information, but they qualify at higher interest rate for a car note or a mortgage, and then they have to pay a higher interest rate over time than what they would have if their information was correct.
That does happen. Yes, you're right. That they may qualify for the loan. They may say, yeah, we can see that your file, we don't Yeah, because the auto dealership, what do they want to do? They want to sell the car. I mean, they want to make sure, and with a mortgages, they ultimately they want the loan to go through. They don't want to go through all the process of, that the underwriter says no, but yes, they may pay a higher interest rate. They may have something on there like if a person says, hey, that's not mine, that's somebody else's. Well, that person that's going to grant that loan isn't concerned about that, so but they know there's a risk, so they say, okay, there's a risk, your APR is going to be higher, as opposed to, it's not going to be this, for a car loan it's not going to be 3%, now it's going to be 8%.
And so you said that it's 1, 2, maybe 3% of files are mixed. Is a
Yes.
mixed file one of the most common errors? Is there something that's more common for credit, a more common mistake for credit bureaus to make?
Well, I don't say it's the most common, but it does happen. It's probably the one that, here's the thing that concerns me about mixed files is, you know, if you're running a company that that it happens, well, then why does it happen? I mean, why aren't you doing something to fix it? And what I've learned is that, that's just a business choice. It's a business decision that they would rather just take the risk of somebody reaching out to them. And I mean, if you look at it, here's one of the things I've learned about, from the being on the other side, on the credit reporting agency side, is, they tell you, don't use a credit repair organization. You can don't use, attorneys, don't use, regulatory agencies. Just come to us. We'll help you. So, that's how they do their business. They're trying to minimize their faults. They want to make sure that, so they just tell people so that, yes, when somebody's a mixed file, you got to, handle them with care, help them out. And, they just hope that later that it doesn't come back to haunt them.
So the bureaus would rather pay the cost of the damage they're causing than fix their system to not cause the damage.
It seems to me that that's in my experience, yes, because, this isn't something that's brand new. This isn't something that's just happened in the last couple of years. This is something that is ongoing. And if your database does it, then, they, that's just the choice they make.
Wow. So there's 6 million up to 6 million Americans out there who the credit bureaus have decided to let this happen to.
Well, I mean, that's what I see in my experience. Yes.
Wow. That's, I don't have words for that. It's incredible.
I know it is a little like, wow. Okay. So.
Well, that's the questions I've got about mixed files. If anybody watching this has questions, post them in the comments, and you can reach out to Doug. Doug, can you tell folks how to get in touch with you?
Sure, I'd be more than happy to. You can reach me through my website. It's Credit Experts of North Texas. It is CENTX.biz, or I can be reached by email. It's Doug@Hollon.biz. That's DOUG at HOLLON.biz.
And Doug, can you tell the folks who are watching a little bit about what you do?
Right. Just so you know, yes, I am a credit expert witness. I can help consumers with their litigation cases. So that way, normally what happens if a credit expert report is needed for a case, the consumer's attorney would reach out to me and, ask me to write a report, based on the information that, they provide. I also provide consultation. If you want me to be a non-testifying consultant, I can also help in that way also.
Great. Well, I appreciate your time you took out to talk to us today. Doug, and folks, if you're having problems out there, reach out to either me or Doug, and we'd love to help you out.